If you are new to the industry and you're trying to find contacts to pitch your screenplay to, where do you go? My first piece of advice is keep writing, keep making things. Don't stop. Don't have just one thing you're pitching, because if you pitch and they say no, you're done. Okay, so keep writing. I watch a lot of people just, crawl up on a cross that is like their first project or their favorite project, and they're like, I'm just going to be hard headed and charge my way through and get this made. It will get made before I go on to the next thing. Don't do that. Instead, keep writing, keep making things, finish them, and then you can move on to the next steps that I'm going to suggest. Second, you need to get an IMDb Pro account. It's like $15 a month. Amazon owns it. You can get it through your Amazon subscription, and you need it. It is like the Rolodex of the entire film and television industry. Everybody in the industry has it. Everybody looks it up all the time. Is it 100% accurate? No, it's not, but the more you use it, the more you can read the tea leaves, and the information there will absolutely help you begin to understand the industry and who you can reach out to and why to contact them, etc. The third thing you need to do is read the trades. You need to read Deadline.com. You need to read Hollywood Reporter. You can throw Variety in there if you want to. Mostly Hollywood Reporter, Deadline.com. And you want to read everything. Don't read one article. Read everything. Put it in Feedly. Put it in an RSS reader on your phone, and that should be your research time whenever you're bored. Is just flipping through the headlines, reading articles, because you really can learn things in the trades about who is producing what kind of producer is producing what kind of movie, what kind of production company is producing what kind of movie, what kind of distributor is distributing what kind of movie. And those things are all very important, because those are the people that you're going to be pitching to. Again, take everything in the trades with a grain of salt. Some of it's just positioning. I mean, you can, pay a publicist, a couple $1,000s, and they'll get anything placed on Deadline. Break out an Excel sheet and start putting all of your information in the Excel sheet, start organizing it. Your goal is to begin bit by bit to understand the whole industry. Okay, it's really not that big. There's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of Russian nesting dolls in the industry, where two organizations you think are different are really just the same company. So there's a lot of that going on, but to begin to understand it, you need to be tracking it as you read this stuff, as you research stuff on IMDb Pro, right? You can also use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is pretty useful for a quick check on which company is owned by which corporation, etc. And you can kind of figure out what companies are sister companies and what companies are standalone companies. And some of those will surprise you. So don't sleep on that either. Now, ready to dive in and understand the industry and who you should pitch to, okay? You have to know what your project is. This is a big point, because a lot of people don't know what their own project is. They bring me a script, or they bring me a script and a pitch deck, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, what exactly is this? And then I made a funny TikTok about this the other day. Then I read the script and I'm like, you got this all wrong. This is not a thriller. There are no thrills. It's a drama. Or you got this all wrong. It's not a thriller. This is like a Stephen King horror movie. Or this is hilarious. It's more of a comedy than it really is sci-fi. So, you need to know what the predominant genre that your work is in. Yes, every project has elements of different genres or whatever. You need to know what the predominant genre is. But let's say you know that your screenplay is predominantly in the horror genre, okay? You need to go make a list of all the producers and all the production companies that are doing primarily horror. They may do some other stuff, but they're doing primarily horror, right? You need to make some assessment on whether or not these are tiny horror movies with no budget, whether these are big studio movies, or whether they're probably somewhere in between. And then you can just start reaching out to those producers. Their contact info is on IMDb Pro. If not, you can use a little Google Foo to search and figure it out. It's not that hard. If their assistant is email address is on IMDb, you can figure out with Google what their email address probably is. You're going to have more success with lower level and mid-level people than you are with emailing Jason Blum right off the bat. He's probably going to ignore you. Even if you're unrepped, if you have no agent, no manager, it's fine. You can still reach out to production companies who are looking for material, who will, then turn around and pitch your thing to Jason Blum, because they have that relationship. But you need to reach out to these producers, these production companies. Reaching out to mid-level assistants and stuff is fine. executives, development people, that's also fine. It doesn't have to be, the producer that you see listed as a producer on a movie, but you need to reach out to them and say, give them your title, long line synopsis that clearly shows what the movie's about, and that it's clearly in the horror genre, right? And then say, hey, does this seem like it's in your wheelhouse? If so, would you like to take a look at the pitch deck, at the screenplay, and see what they say? Now, if they say yes, great. You're pitching your movie to them. You're giving them a pitch deck, which I think is very important. You're giving them your screenplay, and then they'll queue it up to read. So it may take a little while. But there's one other big opportunity here if they say no that most people miss out on. So if they say no, I'm not interested in your project, then just reply and be like, okay, totally fine, I get it. What are you looking for? And ask them what they're looking for. Now, you may be pitching them horror, but they are only focusing on action, or they're only focusing on comedy, right? They're like, this is what we're really looking for right now. And then you just make a note of that, right? And then whenever you have a screenplay that's in that wheelhouse, you follow back up with them and say, hey, my next movie is an action movie. Or you may know other screenwriters who have the perfect script. Be like, what's your ideal idea of what you're looking for? And they may be like, we're looking for contained action that's kind of similar to this movie, right? And then you have a friend who is writing that, or you have a friend that's looking for another project to write. He writes something, and when it's done, you can take it to them and say, hey, I've got this screenplay I'm on as a producer. Is this in your wheelhouse? And then you can get your friend's screenplay read. You have to do a lot of this. That's why I'm saying you need to track it in Excel. You need to start learning these companies and who does what. Some of them are obvious. Blumhouse does horror. Lionsgate does a lot of action, right? Grindhouse does lower budget action. Kind of tell just by looking up these companies on IMDb, and then just seeing what their past credits are. But these doors, they're really not closed. You just have to be a normal person who is sending a normal human email. It's not crazy, it's not special just because it's the film industry. It's a normal business email that you're emailing to somebody else in the business and saying, hey, this is what I've got. Is this of interest to you? Be positive, be polite. Don't send envelopes full of glitter. Just be a normal person. And, usually the kind of stuff that, would pass for communication if you were working in corporate at like Hertz Rentals or something. It's pretty much the same thing in the film industry. Hope this helps. Has been a long one, so if you have any questions, just let me know.